Well, it's officially monsoon. That's exactly how we're starting this trading week with. And it's been so early this time. The longest elongated, hottest summer and then an early monsoon.
Well, I mean, that's nature for you. That's how, you can blame everything on global warming actually. Weather patterns are changing because of global warming. But, if monsoon is coming early, no one is complaining, let me assure you that. So what? It's a tough trek when you get to Bombay. But yeah, I mean, monsoons have arrived early and they've arrived early almost by 2 weeks. And it's like a welcome respite for all of us in Mumbai. In fact, it's raining in Delhi also.
Yeah, it's raining in Delhi too. Those, of course, are freak showers, but this one can officially call it monsoon. At least the IMD surely is. In fact, it's been the earliest onset that you've had since 2009. So yeah, there you go, completely rained in. But what about the markets? Let's track that as well, and whether it's going to be raining gains or not, because last week was a little bit of a choppy one, if you will. One up day, one down day, some amount of consolidation thrown in. While the Nifty small and mid cap managed to close in with, losses for themselves. There you go. That's the picture. The Nifty dipped about 0.6%, 0.7% dip for the mid-cap index. And small caps as well did not really do a whole lot. While you had real estate, metals, which managed to gain sectorally, Auto snapped its 5-week gains, and IT that continued to suffer in losses. But yeah, the question is, what happens next? What's the way forward? Can we surpass 25,500 or not? Or is 25,000 a tough ceiling to actually conquer?
You may want to say that it's a tough ceiling. And the fact that the triggers are out, the fact that earnings season is out, the fact that flows now at high level clearly seems to be waning away. You can make a case that 25,200, 25,500 is where markets will definitely try and make an attempt. But that attempt may not be a very powerful one. So I expect that Nifty is stuck in a range and it will remain stuck in a range. But the downside in the market also is limited and restricted, which I think is very well defined in terms of how much the damage could be when the markets, they start reversing. But the small and the mid cap space is where you will continue to see outperformance. It was mild outperformance last week. It was smart outperformance the week before that. And I think that's largely because there is a lot of Johnny come lately crowd, which now seems to be getting excited about the fact that the markets have moved higher and they've been sitting on the cash now. So my sense is that this week lacks any trigger. There is no calendar event to look forward to. And typically when you have market which is in a stronger which in a sense has enjoyed some degree of momentum, and when globally also things are looking calm, stable and okay, you will see outperformance, but outperformance needs to be perhaps more visible in small and mid cap stocks for the reasons I mentioned.
Yeah. And I think the other question also is that after that little bit of an aberration in the FII flows that play out, will they resume buying or not consistently?
What do you think?
I think they should.
Yeah, I mean, where will they go?
Yeah.
See, what are the factors you look at? See, there is no scientific model in which you can assess flows, but you have indicators. One indicator is the yield, 4.5, 4.6. It is high, but not damaging enough to have a collateral impact. Second is the dollar index, which is in and around 100. The bias, I think, is lower, which means that the whole long dollar trade now seems to be reversing. And the third is macro positioning and valuations for India. The China comeback trade has failed. The India expensive trade now seems to be well digested. And the fact that crude is down, monsoons are early, there are no geopolitical tensions, you would imagine that foreign institutional investors who've gone away, they may actually want to make a comeback. I think they are just pausing because the flows in the month of May already have crossed 20,000 crores. Last week was just nothing sort of a flow picture, but eventually on decline, if this market, eventually on decline, I expect flows to come back. So on the flow front, I'm not very worried. On the earnings front, yes, pockets of exuberance are there, but the buy the decline template, I think, is at play. And in that buy the decline play, I think the real outlier now is not going to be DIs, it's going to be FIs, because markets know that DIs to hain, wo to aayenge, wo to invest karte rahenge. That's like you're assuming that, that pattern will continue. What will take it higher, I think, is the FII flows, and which I think have been a bit of an aberration. Very high selling, then intense comeback, and then bit patchy. I think that will stabilize.
Yeah. And well, economically as well, all things seem to be completely intact for India. Not just the fact that we are officially now the fourth largest economy in the world, but the fact that, the government as well, along with the central bank, has its coffers full. Look at the RBI dividend, for instance. It's a good 27% higher than the previous fiscal. It's standing now at about almost 2.7 lakh crore rupees. So that's almost how much the RBI is going to pay in terms of dividend to the center. So that also, keeps all those fiscal deficit concerns completely at bay. The fact that it's been a record dividend that the RBI has given. The board reviewed the global domestic macro outlook, and now they've approved this hefty bonus, so to speak. Yes, it's a little bit lower than what the market was anticipating. The market was getting a little greedy and working with those 3 lakh crore rupee kind of estimates. But that said, it's been the highest ever regardless. But yes, like we've been pointing out, the monsoon arrival, is that going to cheer the markets or not? And officially, monsoons have come in knocking earlier than usual, and rains have hit Kerala a good 8 days before the normal schedule itself. Not just that, this is the earliest arrival, like I mentioned earlier, that you've seen since about almost 2009. In fact, the India Met Department has issued a very heavy rainfall warning for several southern and western states as well, which includes Karnataka and Kerala. And a red alert has also been sounded for Goa, forecasting extremely heavy downpour. So yeah, we will of course get a status check as the monsoon progresses on whether or not it's going to be an above normal one. What does the early onset indicate? We'll get you all the chatter and that expert opinion on that. But yeah, the other thing, of course, has been global, and how can one not keep a close eye on that? And of course, the big news this morning is the flip-flop that you're seeing from the Trump administration on the tariff implementation. It seems that they've already delayed the tariff implementation on EU already. So seems like a little bit of a soft room for some negotiations already seems to be in the works.
It's like iron fist, then olive branch, then iron fist, then an orange branch. I mean, decide whether it's iron fist or olive branch. And that's the way maybe Donald Trump negotiates. I mean, first he's going to put a number which will shock everyone, and then he will come back, renegotiations will start. Everyone's realizing that higher tariffs are going to be hurting everybody. Now, you can argue back and say that with China, the deal is in place. With India, hopefully we know which way things are moving. For the rest of the world, we know how things are moving. European Union, and I'm talking about minus UK, where deals already has been stuck. In the European Union, we know that the tariffs and the deficit numbers are high. So bit of a strict negotiations, I think, were always due. And let's see who blinks the eyelid first. It is just one of those phases where sometimes an olive branch and iron fist strategy could lead to one, whether US or European Union, one of them will blink first. So these are strategic stroke pressure strategies which I think the US administration, in this case Donald Trump, seems to be doing. From a market standpoint, now markets also realize that there would be a middle path. Tariffs are coming. It's not going to be as high as what the world thought they would be. There would be a middle path, and I think that is getting empirically evident in the way how trade negotiations have moved between all the blocs now. But
if you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.